Let's face it, getting older sucks. Getting older in the age of social media is even worse. Do you hate it when people tell you to age gracefully? Do you want to know how to live your best life at any age? Well, so do we. First rule, don't call me ma'am. Now, here's Jodi Miller.
Hey everybody, welcome to Don't Call Me Ma'am. Don't fucking call me ma'am. I am Jodi Miller, and I am joined today by one of my favorite people in the whole world. She's an amazing comic. She's also an amazing writer. She works on Funny You Should Ask With Me. She's one of the top producers and room leaders on the show. She's been there since season 1. We're going into season 4, which is absolutely insane. God, she's toured all over the world. She's hilarious. Put your hands together right now, and I know you're not driving anywhere, for Vanessa Graddick, everyone. Yay!
Hey!
Insert the applause break. Woo! Yeah.
Hey! Sit down, everybody. Sit down. It's fine.
Calm down, guys. Calm down. Questions come later. So, first of all, you just recently traveled, so you are like not in California right now. Tell me about like what's travel like right now. Like, what was it like?
At first, I was very hesitant to travel because I didn't believe that the airlines were actually like practicing social distancing.
Right.
And I had heard these horror stories of people still packing people onto planes.
Right.
Delta was fantastic.
Oh, great.
Like Delta was great. They boarded from the back of the plane. Only 50% of first class was seated, and none of the middle rows in economy were seated. As soon as you get on the plane, they give you wipes and this little it's this adorable little individual use Purell. You just snap it. It was super cute. The only thing that was kind of off-putting at first is I believe they're all wearing t-shirts, like Delta t-shirts.
Right.
Because you can take them off between flights.
Oh.
But when the lady came up to me with the little Dasani water, I was like, ma'am, go find your seat. Who the hell is you? I was like, oh, you work here. I'm sorry, Maggie.
You're like, who's this bitch in a t-shirt trying to give me water?
Yes.
Don't take water from people in t-shirts, people.
No, just random bitches walking through the aisle like it. No.
So I feel like this question would probably apply to you, and most likely me too, depending on the flight. I heard a lot of flights are not like serving alcohol. Is this the case?
They are not. So what they do is they come around with a little like a little snack pack that has a bottle of water, pre-sorted snacks, and another little Purell thing. But the flight attendant, the t-shirt lady, she told me that starting July 1st, Delta will be doing beer and wine because they don't have to hand out cups with that, and most people just drink them from the bottle.
But I mean,
I told them they could give me tequila like that.
Exactly. I drink the little Jack Daniels straight from the bottle too. Who needs a glass? Like, don't.
It's just in the bottles.
Exactly. Don't be an animal. Just drink it.
If you can give me Dasani, you can give me vodka.
Exactly.
Like, I don't understand.
Also, I feel like, if they're giving you a snack pack, they're basically giving you way more than they did before the pandemic.
Yes. Yeah. Because remember before the pandemic, back in monkey class, they didn't get bottles of water. You just had to pour it out of that big community thing.
Yeah. You got nothing. Mm-hmm. You got nothing before this. You had to pay for air. Or do you want oxygen during the flight? Because that's going to be an extra $15. Yeah.
So now, like, first class is suffering and economy is coming up. Economy is like, yeah.
As it should be. So that's great. So the flight was great and everything, obviously, was perfect.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. All right. So first, let's talk about the big birthday. It's like in less than a month. Holy shit. Now, for those of you...
I'm so hurt.
Can I say it? Can I say which birthday this is?
Oh, I don't care. I'm proud. I'm ready.
You should be fucking proud because you're amazing. And also, it's an amazing number. I remember turning it. Vanessa's turning 40 next month, everyone.
Or August.
In August, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's already July. But yes, in August, everybody send her lots of gifts. DM me, and I will tell you where to send all the gifts and the money and all the cash. Now, I remember, what was it, 6 months ago? We were in your office. I remember you specifically not only planning out where you wanted to have your big 40th bash. And by the way, that was a very special. I had a huge party for my 40th. All my friends from the East Coast flew in. But I remember you specifically saying that you wanted to go to 40 countries within the year. How has this pandemic affected that?
So I wanted to try to go to to 40. Like my goal was to get to 40, but I was starting with 12 countries in 12 months.
Oh, okay, right.
And I mean, technically I'm in Georgia right now, which is like a different country because they don't feel like we have a pandemic.
You don't have to tell anyone which Georgia it is, by the way. You don't have, you can just say I'm in Georgia.
I went to Georgia.
Right. You're in Georgia. That's a country.
But it has been extremely disappointing. I canceled like 3 trips. And then because I was supposed to be on a cruise at the beginning of June, I think.
Yeah.
And then what sucks more so, like travel, I'll have time to travel. It'll be whatever. Yeah. But my party, I don't know what's going to happen. So by that, because my party is supposed to be August 22nd. Mm-hmm. If we can gather in small groups by then, I'll still do it. If we can't, my contingency plan is to find somebody rich. So if there's somebody rich watching who has a grand old house, please let me borrow it. We'll clean it up after.
We'll clean it up,
but,
yeah.
And so it'll go from like 200 people to maybe like 40 or 50 people, just still intimate setting.
How are things in Georgia? I mean, are they similar to Los Angeles as far as everything?
No. This shit is wide open. Like,
oh, for real?
At LAX, that's the first thing I saw. At LAX, everybody has on masks. Right. There's stations everywhere. There, whatever. Yes. I came into ATL. Even the employees weren't wearing masks. Like it was maybe every third person actually had on a mask, and they're just chilling and talking. And then I went to go get my rental car, and of all the rental agents, only one. He was masked up. He was sanitizing between everything. And I went, and I was supposed to go to somebody else. I was like, "Nah, I'm waiting for him. I don't want no part of you. I'm gonna be over here with the brother who cleans his hands."
Yeah, exactly. I think it's, especially when you're in, when you're in a business with that, like with the volume that they are encountering at the airport, at the car rental, that's a mass volume. It's people in and out all day long. You need to be safe. You know what I mean? If you're just an individual and you're just like, I'm going to go to the grocery store, although you can't go without a mask, but then, then you're an idiot. But at least people that are working with a large volume of people around them, like that should definitely be a requirement until it no longer has to be.
It makes perfect sense. But then I will say this, and this never happened to me actually I haven't been out in LA. But we went to 2 restaurants where they took our temperature before we could go in.
I did that. Yeah. I did one show. I did a live show a week and a half ago. It was amazing. In fact, I mean, there was like 10 people there. I said something that didn't get a laugh. I was just trying, I was just doing whatever. And I was like, I don't care. I don't care if any of you laugh right now. Like, I don't fucking give a shit. I'm speaking to people in real time and you're reacting like it's fucking amazing.
Yes. Instead of talking to ourselves or these screens.
It's just, and I've done a lot of the Zoom shows, and you've done Zoom shows too. Yes. And they are good, for what they are, but there is that like half-second delay. You can feel it. It's not the immediate, it's very odd. And there's just something about being with another human being or a group of human beings and getting the energy from them. It's just completely different. And for us as performers, it's definitely been challenging for us. It was so great to do a live show. I would have done it for one person. It just felt great to see them reacting. And so they were taking everyone's temperatures. They were walking, and it was a bar restaurant. And of course I had to, make the joke of like, well, when you take the temperature of the room, that's not what we meant.
Right.
Which everybody thought was great. I was like, hey, I work at Funny You Should Ask. Check it out.
Approved.
It really is. It really is.
I would love to do a show, but I'm not comfortable yet.
Right. I think I'm a little bit more comfortable than you are, but I get it. And everybody, you know what I mean, has their own level of comfort for sure.
And honestly, we're pretty protected on the stage because usually the stage is higher and it's that far back.
And I brought this microphone right here. Comics, everyone get it. It's under $20. It's great. I bring it with you. I think all comics should start bringing their own microphone. I think I should like create cute little bags to bring your microphone with you, and then that's your bag. But I feel like a lot of comedy clubs will start doing that. Not only will they change out mics, I'm sure they are, but they'll be sanitizing them. that barbicide, that stuff that all the hairdressers use that apparently is like the best for disinfecting. So, I mean, as long as people are going to start doing that, I feel like, yes, us on stage, we're definitely the safest because from the comics that I know, like Russell Peters, other people that are actually performing, Brad Williams on the road right now, even though, the crowd isn't as close, they've definitely reconfigured those rooms. I feel like comedy is sort of conducive to that you can reconfigure a room and make it safe, you know what I mean, for everyone. You're with your little group, you've got your server who's protected, and the comedian is, obviously more than 6 feet away. So I feel like
I think right now, as much as I want to go on stage, my biggest fear that I am going to conquer in the next 2 days.
Let's hear it, because
I'm getting these fucking nails done.
Oh my God, they just opened up in LA. It's a huge thing, people. I'm going today.
Dude,
that's the biggest thing.
My toes look like I'm a hobbit. Like somebody got to come get those little hairs off the knuckles. I can't. And out here, because they've been open for so long, they have these like Star Wars plastic things, and you put your hands and your feet through it.
Oh, great.
So
I'm going today.
I have to.
I feel like, honestly, though, if you think about it, nail salons have always been, in my opinion, the safest long before. They've always had masks on. Most of them already have gloves on, the ones that I've gone to. So I feel like for them, I feel like they've definitely been the safest. Now, I've been to a restaurant in LA, Chibo's, great restaurant. They have the plastic shower curtains sitting outside. You can only sit outside, and all of their tables are separated by plastic shower curtains, so you can still see other people, but you're protected. And I felt 100% safe. It was great. It was really great.
That's how the Waffle House was out here.
Right.
They had dividers between the things. But wasn't there like one of the outbreaks in California was linked to a nail salon?
I mean,
like I think the employees are fine. I think it's the guests who are so close.
And I feel like now, I feel like they're more protected. But if they opened hair salons long before they opened nail salons, which just, I mean, like, I'm glad I got my hair done, but obviously, we can't have hobbit feet, people. Vanessa's turning 40. She's not going to be a hobbit.
Little known fact about me, I have not had my nails not done for this long, probably since I was 12-ish.
Wow.
I do not. I have been going every 2 to 3 weeks for my entire life. I can't.
She does. Trust me, I know.
I've just been wearing socks.
She's like, I'd be like, what are you doing for lunch? And you're like, I'm getting my nails done. I might be 10 minutes late. I'm like, I get it. You got it. You know what? You got to keep up with it. You have to keep up with it.
Eyebrows and nails always have to be done.
Yeah, Vanessa and I actually started, I think it was the beginning of the quarantine, so that was in March, where we were going to do hashtag quarantine bush.
Yes.
Because fuck it, if you're going to grow out your hair and, be a 70s, 80s chick again, you might as well do it. You might as well fucking do it during quarantine when no one's coming over.
The problem was for me, I was team quarantine bush. I was in it.
You were in it
I was cornrowing the shit. It was the whole thing. I don't even know whose vagina that was. It felt different.
You probably couldn't see your vagina. You don't even know what it was.
Seriously.
It's like, where is it?
But then I found a fantastic mobile waxer. So she came over because hashtag quarantine bush got overridden by hashtag quarantine dick.
When you can find some quarantine dick, you break out the fucking weed whacker.
Yeah, you do whatever you have.
You get
just
the
in there with a machete.
You get the garden tools. You get all that shit. You get in there. You work it out. Whatever you find living in there at the time, you got to get rid of that.
You got to go. You got to get out.
All right, so let's talk about turning 40, because I mean, I'm in my 40s and I actually really enjoy my 40s. How do you feel about it? I think for women, it's interesting. I think men have a harder time turning 30 and women have a harder time turning 40. I feel like that I didn't have a hard time turning 30 at all. I rode the bull at the Saddle Ranch like 9 times and fucked the guy who was operating the bull. So, I mean, that was a great 30th birthday party. 40th was, I think it was a more difficult time for me. And then after the birthday, it was like totally fine. Do you have any what are your thoughts?
I think for my 30th, I was actually performing in Miami. Like I was on the road with Lonnie Love. So I was with friends and I didn't really think about it.
Right.
I don't mind turning 40, but I am hanging on to 39. Every time somebody asks me, I'm like, I'm still in my threes.
Yeah.
Now, come August 18th, I will acquiesce and I will let it happen. But right now, I'm still in my threes. And I think we all just have that point where once you reach a certain age, so like my gynecologist, I'm talking to her. She's like, "Do you want kids?" I said, "Maybe I have a kid or two." This bitch. Well, do you have a man? I say, now you being real disrespectful. Don't worry about what I'm doing. And so then she said what they all say. Have you thought about freezing your eggs? No, bitch. Do you have a freezing your eggs scholarship? No, it is expensive,
it's so expensive,
and I don't have it.
I wish people would just stop saying it as if it's like buying eggs at a store. Are you freezing your eggs? As if it's that easy. As if you can buy a freeze your egg kit at home. Like you can't. It's not.
You can't put it in there next to the peas. You have to like. There's
it's not like 23andMe. You can't just get a kit in the mail and just stick your eggs in there. It is thousands of dollars for. It's not only thousands of dollars to extract your eggs and to get the viable eggs with all of the medication to get those viable eggs. It is so much money to store those eggs. Everyone's like, "Are you doing it?" It's like, no, bitch. I'm working.
No.
I'm trying to buy like real eggs so that I can eat.
So that's the only thing that I kind of think about is like, okay, if I'm dating someone now, because I think by 43, I'm going to throw in the towel for trying to have my own, unless I have like Janet Jackson money. Like the money I have right now, I can't have a baby when I'm old because he's going to come out limping and looking crazy. And that's going to be my fault. Like the baby just going to walk out at 17.
Keep in mind, though, that it has been linked men over 45 now. Their sperm is not that great either. Men act like they can just have a baby like whenever, but a lot of cases of autism have been linked to men with older sperm. And I say it like it's like a young man with older sperm. I mean, just like an older man with older sperm, obviously.
Well, the good news is I don't like old men, so we all right.
Yeah, me too. So I think we're good. I remember when I was trying to get pregnant, my fertility doctor was like, remember, do not have sex with anyone who is 50. I'm like, well, how about two 25-year-olds? Hey!
Hey!
I mean, I've definitely talked about this on my podcast before about trying to get pregnant, but I definitely had to mourn that loss of not being able to have my own biological child. And it's fine. I'm adopting a child. I think my plan has always been have a child. It's more important for me to be a mother than it is for me to give birth. But it's definitely something, whether you say you want children or not, whether you're undecided, it's when that's taken away from you, there is a part of you that, has to mourn that loss and acknowledge that, you've come to that time, which I'm starting to get to that time where I'm like, oh, this is real. I'm having like mini hot flashes every once in a while, which are amazing. It feels like someone's like lights a match and sticks it in your belly button and it explodes up. It feels really
looking forward to it.
Yeah, get ready. It's really that. I mean, it's interesting. Everything changes like almost overnight in your 40s. That's the only thing I didn't like. I'm still in my 40s, but it's like everything changes where just recently, and I'm reminded of this every time I drink, like your body you can't hold your alcohol the way. I had 2 drinks last night early on too. So it's like when you do that early on, like day drinking or afternoon drinking or early evening drinking, you stop and then you get hungover before you even go to bed from 2 drinks. Like that's ridiculous.
It's even just approaching 40, my body is changing. Like my titties are getting bigger. They're out of control. They don't fit nothing. I remember just 4 years ago, if I wanted to lose weight, I could do it like that. I go to the gym one time, I'm back in fighting shape.
Yes.
Now I'm eating fucking carrots and water and still not a single change. I can't.
I can tell you right now, and this is we're diverting from it, but I feel like it is still a part of everything. I went to see a nutritionist 2 weeks ago, and I have been on a non-dairy, gluten-free diet just for 2 weeks. And I mean, no gluten for me isn't a big deal because I don't eat a lot of carbs, but
You are a cheese fiend.
I am thank you. I am a cheese fiend. Are you ready for this? This is unbelievable. And for everybody listening to me, this is real because I Googled it. So you know it's real. Within 3 days of not, and by the way, I am in love with cashew milk, in love with oat milk. So delicious. Ice cream is so delicious. And I'm not even an ice cream person. They use cashew milk, which is unbelievable. 3 days after cutting dairy out of my diet, I am able to now breathe through the side of my nose that I was never able to breathe. The inflammation in my entire body is gone. I have not been able to breathe out of I had no idea. Like, I know obviously mucus, but I didn't realize, like, especially nasal congestion. I'm sleeping better. It's so I'm not lactose intolerant, but it's obviously something that comes with age, and it's caused a lot of inflammation in my body. My body has actually changed. Like, my figure's changed, and I'm actually eating a lot of more like more carbs now because I feel I'm like so hungry. But but the non-dairy has made such a massive difference in my life that it's a game changer. It is a game changer. I don't have to take my decongestant every day, and I've been on that for like 10 years. It's unbelievable. So it's weird when you get older, and I remember I could just, wake up and walk to the bathroom, and that was my workout, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. And now it's like, you have to work out a lot harder, which really, really sucks.
That's one of the main things that they say when, like, if you're sick or have a cold or just congested.
Yes.
The first thing my doctor says is stay away from any dairy products because it just thickens all of that mucus.
I mean, I think I always knew that, and I always was aware that, yes, like, it obviously causes mucus. I think I didn't realize that it caused so much inflammation in particular. Like, you think it causes mucus where you're, like, hacking it up, but it's just, like, everything sort of, like, calms down. And I was having a lot of, like, inflammation in my chest, and I was having, like, these PVCs, and it's all connected. I haven't had my acid reflux. It's nuts. You just don't think of dairy. So of course I really miss cheese. And my one doctor told me, because I was like, I don't think I can give up cheese forever. And they were like, anything aged over a year. So for people listening, anything like, I just bought cheddar that's like 3 years old, 3 years aged cheddar. And I like them young, people. It's, I had some last night, which was the first time, probably in 2 weeks, not a lot, but some, like, sprinkled on top of, like, my broccoli. And it's great. I didn't have any any adverse reaction. I think anything goat cheese is like goat cheese, feta, anything that's not cow. He says, stay away from cow, and if you're going to have cheese, make sure it's aged. The longer, the better. So I think Parmesan too, stuff like that. So it's like cutting it back.
Yeah, because Parmesan sits in your house for 17 years. Parmesan.
Yes, Parmesan is definitely an apocalyptic food. Parmesan, Twinkies, that shit is the shelf life of forever, basically. So if shit goes down, we know we have it. But well, let's talk about, like, everything that's going on, just, like, with the amazing movement that's happening, which is long overdue. I mean, also, how is that different being, like, in Georgia right now compared to being in LA? Because, in LA when it started, and you live downtown, so you were seeing like immediate, marches and protests and rallies and like, how first of all, how has that just, like, affected you personally?
Personally, it's been, for lack of a better word, it's been pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Just because, one, I'm from Minnesota.
Yes.
So I'm born and raised in Minnesota. And so I'm watching on television is basically my home is going crazy and I can't do anything. Like, me, I'm a fixer. So I couldn't do anything to help my hometown do better. Then being here, I'm looking outside of my window and watching my current home be burnt down, which I'm here for the shits. Burn this bitch to the ground and start over. I really am.
Yes, I believe that.
But the only thing is and that's why I had to get out of town, because I'm getting alerts. There's 2 to 3 protests downtown in LA every single day. And I got used to falling asleep to helicopters, then there were like the fireworks and everything, and it was every night. I felt like I was in Baghdad. Yeah. So coming to Georgia, it doesn't feel like there's protests happening. They could be. They just might not be where I'm at.
Right.
But out here is much more peaceful than DTLA.
Right.
And but I am happy for all of the changes that are trying to be made, and people are waking up. Like, the pandemic is the best thing that could have happened for us, because a lot of my white friends, they weren't seeing all the stuff that was happening because, like, and you can call it algorithms or whatever else, they're directed to different things than I'm directed to.
Yeah.
Like, but sitting at home not doing anything, it has to be in your face, and people have to acknowledge, and you have to see it.
Yes.
So that part is good.
It's so good. I think the pandemic, not only was it in your face and we're watching news 24/7, we've also been locked in our house. I don't think if we were quarantined, if COVID was happening and all these tragedies, happened, and George Floyd, I still don't think what's happening now would have occurred. I think it was the perfect storm. I think it needed to for all of this to happen. And I also, it's interesting because, I'll be the first to admit that there's no way I can ever relate to your experience. Mm-hmm. I'm 100% open to learning about as much as I can, you know what I mean? So and if I do anything incorrectly, I want someone to be like, hey, you should look at it this way, or that's not something appropriate that you should say that's appropriate, or I'm all about the learning of it. And I was thinking about it the other day, as far as like, if we compare it to the 60s, and that movement at that time and things changing, I think social media thank God for it, because it is literally in everyone's face all the time, and it's not going away. And back then, I mean, there are obviously protests and marches and all of that, but I don't think it had this. It's not going to have the same impact as what's happening today, because of social media and because
of the reach.
Yes, correct. Because of the reach and because of the cancel culture, which is good and bad. We'll get to the other side of cancel culture in a second, but there's, you know what I mean? Things are being, they're being forced to change because of that, because, you know what I mean? Because of all of that. Do you agree with that, or?
I do. I think that social media is amazing as far as the reach and getting the messages out. Unfortunately, it's getting all of the messages out. So it's a matter of having to filter through and what's true and what's not. I think one of my biggest challenges in this has been, because obviously, you're one of my really good friends. I have white friends. And I don't feel bad for y'all, but I do in a way, because I know, like, you want something, like, you want to know and you want to learn.
Right.
Right now, Black people are fucking tired. And you haven't done it, but I've been getting a lot of calls like, well, what can I do? I don't know, read a book. Like, I am too overwhelmed to teach you about racism. And it's like, well, are you doing okay? No, well, I don't know what you can do. I mean, donate, do something. I cannot walk people through this when we're trying to. Right. So I would just suggest, as far as learning, just pay attention. And you are the type of person where I could say, yo, we don't really do that. Slow down. But I don't have a plan to tell people. And I think a lot of people are looking for someone to give them that plan instead of just being proactive. And there's a space for everybody in this fight. There's the protesters. I'm not going outside because the Rona's still out there, and I'm my mama only child. I'm not catching no rubber bullet. But so you have the protesters, you have the policy changers, you have just the donators. Pick a side, and if you don't have the money to donate, there's on YouTube, there's a Black Lives Matter donation playlist. All you have to do is turn it on in the background, and the ads generate money for Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's just little things. And if everyone starts doing little things, then it'll change the bigger picture. But people have to figure out what's right for them.
Right. And I think a lot of people, And I've been there too, not just with this, with other things. It's like they're scared to say something because it could be wrong, or they're scared to do something because it'll be perceived as wrong, and they don't, and then people will come after them. And it's like, just, if you do nothing, that's worse. You don't have to do exactly what this person's doing or that person's doing. Educate yourself. Find out what moves you. What do you connect with? Read about it. You know what I mean? See the little things you can do. Donating money is an absolute great way. Find out or just show up to any of these, protests, marches, which are amazingly inspiring for me, not just to see the change, but I know, when we went into lockdown, especially you and I are both, single. We live alone. It's very isolating. I think I was spiraling down that rabbit hole of wow, this virus is literally pulling people apart already. We are already so disconnected from other people just with looking at our phone or not, I was we're only getting further and further pulled apart. And this, in a way, I mean, it was a little bit like, Rona what? And everybody just fucking ran out of their house. And we're
the protest turned into the club.
It really did. We're just
oh, I'm going to club protest.
All right, that's I think people were so starved for that. But having said that, once people started to calm down and realize that we still have to be safe, it brought people back together again, and that human contact, and that we're coming together for something greater. I mean, I don't know how many people out there believe this, but I believe this. If you read any astrology report, and I'm sure half the guys right now are like, astrology, turn this off. But I mean, literally every single astrologer going back, last year, they were just like, get ready. 2020 is going to be the year of transformation and the year of truth. A lot of truths are being revealed. And you hear it over and over again. And I just thought, maybe our president will get kicked out of office. Or I just, no one, I don't think, thought these things were going to happen. But honestly, go back and read some of there are some amazing predictions that they just put out there, the year ahead back in November and December. And it is fucking scary how accurate
the 2020 is. We got the Rona.
Yep.
We had the protests.
Right.
We have the monkeys on motorcycles stealing babies. There's a gang of monkeys that ambush the scientists. Asteroids are coming to Earth. The locusts are coming out the ground. The cicadas, the murder hornets.
And
it's June. It's June, yo.
We have a long way to go. I'm not surprised by anything anymore. Every time I read something, I'm like, well, that definitely makes sense. One of the things about, truth's coming out, and I definitely thought of you because, I mean, we're both women in comedy, but I'm assuming your experience is different. I think every woman's experience is different, but sort of similar on the same level. Remind me again,
100%.
Where did you start comedy? Did you start in Minnesota?
In LA.
Oh, you started in LA. Okay.
November 1st, 2006.
Yeah. I started in New York in 1995. Gross, people. Don't do the math. So it's so gross. I feel like for me, and by the way, we're not going to call anyone out. I believe in having proof of something. I think a lot of accusations that came out immediately were, I don't think are 100% accurate. I'm waiting for everything to be proven without a shadow of a doubt. So I'm not going to use anyone's name. I am going to say that culture, though, is 100% accurate. I mean, we've already had the Me Too movement. I was actually shocked when the Me Too movement started and the Harvey Weinsteins and all of that. I was expecting the comedy world to be hit immediately. And I'm shocked that it took this long.
I think that it took this long, for one, because what do we hear all the time? As women in the culture, we are constantly bombarded with comedians throwing dick at us. And if you want to get on stage, you can do this. And it happens all the time. Was that your
experience? But honestly, I want to know, was that your experience? Because we've heard other people talking about that. People really, because I don't think I ever remember someone specifically saying that to me.
So there were a couple things that happened when I first started doing comedy.
Yeah, tell me.
One, like, you know me, for the most part, I don't necessarily I don't dress like I'm going to prom every day, but I like to wear heels. I like to wear whatever. When I started doing comedy, they told me not to do it. They said you have to like ugly yourself up and do all this other
I
shit.
got
And I was
that
like,
too. Yeah.
so I'm wearing baseball caps and tennis shoes because I thought no one would listen to me. Then you had the other people who were like, oh, well, you know, I got some road gigs you want to do, but we got to share a room. You know that, right? And then I had like someone else who booked me for this whole show in Aruba. And then when I said, I was like, cool. Then he asked me on a date. And I was like, I mean, we can go get drinks, but I'm not like, I'm in a situation. I'm not trying to date you. Then all of a sudden the show was canceled. But I've definitely been told that I could get more gigs if I was fucking. And that's by promoters and comedians. But what happens is, it's because we're comedians, they always fall back on it. So when you come back and say something, they're like, you know, I was just playing. I'm a comedian. Remember, I'm a comedian first.
So true.
And we get beat down as women because they tell us basically we're not comedians if we can't take that joke.
Right.
And it's always
disgusting.
something. It's all the time.
It's so gross. Now that you said that too, I'm glad you said that because that just like jarred my memory. I've definitely had road gigs when I first started out where, oh, we got to share a room. And it's like, in what world do we have to share a room? Like, why is that? Like, when we have to, then why does the feature, why does he have his own room? You know what I mean? Or we're going to have to, you know, this is where the condo is. Like, sorry. You know, looking back, and I know a lot of other female comics had it way worse, but I have so many memories of, you know, hosting or doing a guest spot with a headliner, and then at the end of the night he goes in to try to kiss me. And I've had so many experiences like that. We've had so many experiences like that. I don't think people realize that you have to mentally be prepared. And by the way, there's a lot of great comics out there that have never done that. So, but you have to be prepared. And I hate even saying that you have to be, because we shouldn't have to be. But for us, it's this incredible like dance in our heads. Okay, I'm going to do this gig. I have to do my best. I also have to be prepared if he hits on me. So I have to be ready to reject him without making him feel rejected, so that he doesn't not bring me again. And doesn't start spreading rumors about me. You know what I mean? So it's like there has to be, it's a fine line, and it's a dance. It's a carefully choreographed dance of us saying, oh, you know, oh, like I just don't want to mix business with pleasure, or I'm dating someone, or we have to put them down gently because their fucking egos are so fragile. And the second you say no to someone, if they feel rejected, and it's not everyone, by the way, I'm just saying a lot of people.
It happens a lot.
And with artists too, they're way more sensitive, and they're like, oh, she just fucking said no to me. I've also turned and gotten kissed by someone, and in my mind, I'm like, just fucking keep kissing him. It's easier. And then just be like, okay, you know, I don't think we should mix business with pleasure. Do you know how many male comics have come up to me years later and be like, remember that night we hooked up, or remember when we were hanging out? I'm like, no, we never were. You just kissed me. And it was easier for me to just kiss you that night than to push you away and publicly make you feel rejected. We should never ever have to do that. And
I've had several comedians who like, not where we kiss, because I draw the line when you're in my personal space.
Right.
Like, but I have had several comedians like at the end of the show, like they either going to kiss you or they catch you off guard. And I'm like, yo, bro, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? And then some I kissed back because they were cute. But still, that's not the point. The point is it should be my choice, my body, my choice.
Right, it is. But also, it's your body, your choice, and it's also your career. We care about our careers just as much as they do. But they don't have to put up with that bullshit. No. They don't have to worry about what's it going to be like at the end of the night. All we want is stage time. And we have to worry about if they're going to come on to us afterwards. And it's by the way, it's not just obviously this industry. Women out there in every industry we go on business meetings that happen to be over drinks or happen to be over dinner. And sometimes they are 100% legitimate because that's what time they get off of work. And they, you know what I mean? And like, we are actually having a business dinner or a business drink. And everyone's like, well, if you're going out to drinks, you know, it's going to happen. And it's like, no, you
I had
don't.
to tell somebody that. I told somebody that before because it was, I forget what case it was, pick one. And I said, I legitimately don't get off stage and get done with my shows until midnight.
Yeah.
And at the time when I first started comedy, I was still working a full-time job. So it's like, I have that. I go home, I change, I go. If you want to meet with me, it has to be at 12 a.m. at Greenblatt's or something. Like, that's just the way my schedule as an artist work. It is not indicative of whether or not you're going to get some pussy.
Yeah.
And then you have to do, like, we have to take all these extra steps. So like, if I'm on the road, the first thing I do is the hotel, I take the promoter or whoever's name off of it, because then they can't have access to keys. I make sure that I'm the only person with access to my room as soon as I get there.
Has that happened?
It's happened. It's not happened to me particularly, but I don't have to touch the fire to know that it's hot. I know people who it's happened to, so I'm not going to do that shit. Like, I'm not even going to try it.
It's so, you know, and I think, oh my God, I definitely have so many instances that I can remember where you think you're sort of safe because that comic will be like, you know, talking about his wife or talking about the girl that he lives with. So then there's a part of your mind that's like, all right, he's obviously bringing up his wife or his girlfriend, you know, and that's fine. So he's with someone or he's talking to his wife, and then, you know, show's over. All of a sudden he's just all over your shit. And of course, in your mind, I'm going to reject this person. He's never going to bring me on the road again. He's going to tell other comics, so that girl's a bitch. By the way, I've been called a bitch for not being nice to, like, because I this happened recently. And Eliza, we talked about it when she did my podcast, because she completely stuck up for me because they actually said something to her and not me. I was headlining a show. I was running late because I was coming from another show and I had to drive, you know, I was racing across town. I ran in. I'm always nice to people. I'm never like, go fuck yourself, or like, I'm always like, hi. But I ran in knowing that I was like, I had to put my stuff down, sort of like take that 2 minutes and get mentally prepared and then go up and do 40 minutes. And I ran in, and the guy who was booking it, apparently I was just like, hey, great, I'm ready to go. I didn't suck his dick, basically. And basically what came back to the person who booked me, and then ultimately Eliza, was like, oh yeah, I heard Jodi was like such a bitch to what's his name. And she's like, I don't believe that, because she's not a bitch. I'm not, like, that's just not who I am. You know what I mean? I can definitely be a bitch, but that's not who I am. You're nice to everyone. I don't care if you're, and they even said a point, they're like, she was nicer to the bus boy than she was to me, which, by the way, I'm nice to everyone. I don't care what you do. I don't care who you are. I'm just going to be nice to you. It's a common courtesy. Was I like in my own head because I had just come from a show and I was probably, I don't even remember this. Anyway, it came back to him sort of retracting and being, you know what I mean? Like, he was called out, like, why? Because she didn't want to like suck your dick and she wasn't like kissing your ass, because, you know, and I've also been there. I've also been there where I've had to placate some fucking guy's ego in order to get into their good graces. And it sucks. It sucks that we've had to do that. I'm sure you've had to do that.
You always make them think that there is the slightest chance. It's a hell no, but there might be this sliver, and you let them hold on to that sliver.
I hate that we ever have to do that, but we do. And also, because you're turning 40, so we're sort of, you know, in that slight demographic. I'm still older than you, but there's also, by the way, the fact that we work in comedy, and we can just talk from our own experience about where we work too. Like, when you're in a writer's room, there's a lot of shit said. There's a lot of shit that we take because we are comedians, and we can take a joke and we can actually make some of those jokes too. I've definitely made those jokes that are incredibly inappropriate. That is our culture, especially when you're at the club and you're talking to people, and there's a lot of guys that I'm like, what is it? Like, we like hug each other, and it's, so there is that. I definitely think I've been, you know, conditioned for a lot of stuff that I'm sure is incredibly inappropriate, and looking back, and it's just, a violation, probably hasn't even fazed me, because I'm like, well, I'm a comic and I'm in this world and I know how to flirt with people and it's fine. And a lot of it's not fine, but we're so used to so much, you know what I mean? And it doesn't really faze us. I mean, again, it's interesting to watch this domino of what's happening in the comedy world right now with comics that I know really well. And it's interesting to see it play out. And then, of course, like Ron Jeremy being, first of all, no one should get raped. It's the worst thing.
No.
But now imagine getting raped by Ron Jeremy. I mean, that's just, oh my God.
He just doesn't even look strong. Like, I don't even.
You're right. He doesn't. He just doesn't. No.
It just.
It's so. Yeah, I don't know what's going on out there, but I'm glad that a lot of things.
People are talking about it.
Yeah, I'm glad that people are talking about it. But also, it's like, then there are a lot of women. We're talking about like the, cancel culture. There are a lot of, people that are coming out, and this happened to, when Me Too started, a lot of people that just want to jump on that bandwagon, or are just like, well, I hooked up with him and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, so I'm just going to I'm going to jump on this bandwagon and accuse him. And they're getting called out because it's being revealed that these things didn't happen, and they make the real victims suffer even more, in my opinion. Because then
it is. And I don't, I've had several friends who were accused of things just over my lifetime, not necessarily comedians.
Right.
I have one friend who I was in church with who had to go to jail because he was dating a white girl and her parents didn't like it, so they cried rape, and he went to jail for 10 years.
Oh my God.
It's like the people who are just trying to get in to fit in bother the shit out of me. When there are so many legitimate claims, and I'm like, I can slip the cancel culture a few names if they really want to.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that some people are so hungry, and especially comedians and actors, they want that 15 minutes so bad. Because you lie on somebody does not mean that you're going to get a movie.
No.
Like,
oh my God, no.
They just want to be seen because they haven't felt seen. And it's like, yes. I need you to stop, because this bitch over here really did get raped, and you got an aggressive high five. Get out my face. Exactly. I don't like it. I don't like it.
They want their 15 minutes, and what they're going to get is maybe 5 minutes, and then they're always going to be associated with that. That's what they're getting. You're not getting a movie deal. You're not getting, you know what I mean? It's when people come out and talk about what happened to them, it's because they don't want it to happen to anyone else. They're not looking at what am I going to get now from this? But that's our whole culture, is like, if I do this, what am I going to get? I want this. I want to get on that bandwagon. I want my, you know what I mean? And it really does take away from the people that have really, are victims. Now, again, I'm not saying, if a woman has felt sexually harassed, or someone has said something to her and it's really made her feel, less than, or, whatever she's feeling. I'm not taking away from that. I'm not saying that that's not horrible and that it shouldn't happen. It's going to take longer. It's going to take a long time for that to change as well. You know what I mean? It's been years and years. It's been, decades of this. You know what I mean? From getting slapped on the ass, at work, to getting.
I like that though. If you're not being sexually harassed at work, then you're doing something wrong. Like, you need to do some crunches or something. That's something. I'm single. Tell me I'm fine. I'm like, hey, thank you, boo.
That's hilarious. I mean, yeah, but and it is, it is really interesting, because we definitely know a couple people, no names. We know a couple people that refer to women, not by their names, but, like, morning beautiful, hey gorgeous, what's up sexy. And a lot of people do not like it. Like it.
So I'm on both sides. I don't mind.
Yes,
unless you're saying something crazy. Like, if you're like, hey, sweet pussy, then settle down. But saying just beautiful, gorgeous. You know me. I don't use names. Like I'm always like, hey babe, hey love, can you, I'm that type of person. And I don't know if it's the Midwest or like being half raised in the South. So when men do it to me, it doesn't feel creepy. So when women say that, they're like, oh my God, he called me beautiful. Bitch, he was trying to make your day. He wanted to make you smile. Right. Now, if you say, come over here, sweet thing, then it's like, okay, that's enough.
That's aggressive.
Yeah, but like those little things, I'm like, I need you to settle down. You're just be happy somebody said, hey, because you can say, hey, handsome, and no dude is going to be mad. You know how many men don't get called handsome ever? If you're like, hey, handsome, they're like, oh my God, thank you. But
your handsome guy just sounded a lot like a woman, by the way.
I didn't know how to do it because I don't, they be blushed the inside, like, go on with that bullshit.
Yeah, they're like, come on. Yeah, exactly.
I know you like it.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you like it.
But then they make sure that they walk past your office more often now so that you say it over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'm of the belief, like, I'll say it to, like, if I see women or whatever, if I don't know their name, or if you know how you acknowledge people just in the streets or stores, I'm the first one to be like, hey, beautiful, why do you not have a problem with me, but you have a problem with the man who's just trying to be nice? Again,
because there is a line. Right. Because there are some men that are, you know what I mean, not trying to, they're trying to like test the waters, and there are. Right. And I absolutely, again.
But hell, have you seen these studs out here? They test the waters too. Yeah, I get tried more by the aggressive lesbian than I do by any man. So I'm like, hold on now, Charlene. Hold on. I'm good.
Charlene.
Strictly Dickly. I'm good.
Strictly Dickly. Oh my God. Yeah, I am too. Also Strictly Dickly. I'm going to have to steal that from you.
Girl, that's
speaking of that, I mean, there's just been like, well, there's none of that during the quarantine. It's just, we go in, that's the thing. I went into the quarantine one age and I'm coming out another as our year, coming out a different, another decade, it's like, are you kidding me? I didn't have time. I don't have these 4 months to just throw away. I needed those 4 months. I needed them in the dating scene. And men became way more aggressive on dating apps during the quarantine. Like, if they could sense that you were okay meeting, then it's gotta be, then it's all about fucking. It's like, then I'm coming over. It's like, what? In what world? I guess in this world, you can just come over after we've had 3 interactions via text.
Because the bar is not open.
That's right. Well, they are now, but still. But
well,
yeah.
I'm not meeting nobody new during the quarantine. I will dig in the crate first. I will go back in the crate, call up hey, big head.
If you're fucking someone named Big Head, I'm going to need his number. I'm going to need Big Head's number.
Oh, honey, I only fuck black dudes, so they're all big head. Hey.
So you could just literally call them all Big Head. Doesn't matter. You never need to know anyone's name.
Just hey. But nah, nobody's fucking during the quarantine. That's why I got on a plane. I was like, enough is enough. Let me get out of here.
Some people are, though. I know some people that are like managing to like get some quarantine dick. Like literally go on a couple coffee dates in a park and then they're fucking.
Yeah. Which, listen, get it how you live. Just if you're doing that, don't come to my house because I'm taking temperatures at the door. I don't want to hang out with people who are being reckless.
All right. We're going to wrap it up. Tell people where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on all platforms at Vanessa Graddick. So VANESSA GRADDICK, and that's all platforms. Outside of that, I do not have any shows coming up because I am taking a break. I am chilling. So, but yeah, as soon as we get back into production, as Jodi, I'm sure, has mentioned, keep watching Funny You Should Ask so we can keep paying our rent. That would be amazing.
That'd be so good.
I'm sorry, mortgage bitch.
Yeah, what?
My bad. So I can keep paying my rent and she keep paying her mortgage. So tune into Funny You Should Ask. But other than that, again, holler at me on all social media. I usually talk back unless you're a weirdo. And that's it.
And send her birthday gifts. I
don't
care when you're watching this. Yes, it's August 18th. But if you're watching it in September, I don't care. Send her, if you're watching it in July,
Listen.
I don't care. Send her something.
Cash App, PayPal, all of it is Vanessa Graddick.
It's all Vanessa
all
Graddick.
of it.
Just don't send a dick pic. No one wants to see your funky dick unless we've
If you
already seen it.
Thank you. But if you send it,
okay,
please know that everyone else will see it.
Oh, all right, that's fair. Yes.
I will not keep it secrets. You can send all the dick pics you want. I am sending them to every single person that I know. Your dick will go viral. And that's it, because I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you any loyalty.
You'll have a viral dick.
Yes,
probably
you'll have
in
a viral,
more ways than one.
More than likely.
So gross. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. My name is Jodi Miller. This is Don't Call Me Ma'am. Don't fucking call me ma'am.